The next easy thing that we're going to do is what I call a ranch dip. It's not exactly like ranch, but it serves as so many different things. It's like a basic cashew cheese dip recipe. And you can personalize it to your own taste and what you like. So one of the things you can do is make these dips or pâtés like this, make enough, they'll last a couple days, in the refrigerator in a container. I would say 2 to 3 days tops. And you can make a bunch of that, and then you can either, if you're not into or you don't have time to make your own crackers or breads or things like that, you can go buy some dehydrated crackers at Whole Foods or wherever, or you can just cut up some veggies and just use it as a dip, like you would at a party, something like that. So when I was first doing raw food and doing it all on my own and didn't have a ton of recipes, this was one big key for me, is to make dips and then cut up veggies or buy some crackers, and that way you'd always have, something tasty and interesting and not just plain veggies. I have never been someone who can just eat carrot sticks, or, I know people can, but I absolutely can't. So in any case, for this recipe, we're gonna do 1 cup of soaked cashews. And someone was asking me earlier why the cashews are this funny color, and it's because they've been soaked. We soak them from anywhere, minimum 2 hours, maximum 6. You don't really want to soak them as long as the other nuts. Almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, pecans, hazelnuts, those kind of nuts can be soaked, I say overnight, like 8 hours, 8 or so hours is fine. The cashews don't really need to be soaked as long. So it's very simple. The basic cheese recipe, and we're doing 1 cup here, so you don't make too big of a batch. It's a cup of soaked cashews, a couple cloves of garlic, enough water to blend, a teaspoon or so of lemon juice, and a ½ teaspoon or so of salt. And that's it. That makes you a really nice garlicky cheese blend. And then once it's blended up, you can add any fresh herbs that you want, or spices, or whatever kind of flavor you want it to have, depending on, how you're feeling that day. If you want to add some chopped up red bell pepper, or some basil, some oregano, some chives, some dill, whatever kind of flavor that you want. To make it more like ranch, I usually do chives and dill. I don't know why they seem to work for me. And I always tell people, don't make the mistake that I did when I was first trying out recipes like this and blend your green herbs in this, because then you get green cheese. And you only have to do that once to remember that, that's not the best. It doesn't look appetizing, let's just put it that way. It's like bright green cheese. Okay, and for any of the cheeses and the stuff we're doing from now on in the Vitamix, we use the tamper. When I use the tamper, it really becomes like we're blending. It's what helps stir everything up and make those thick sauces. It's vital to making things smooth and creamy. You'll see it. I just tell everyone here, just pretend like you're attacking the Vitamix and it'll be just fine. You have to use it with some force, but okay, we'll blend this up. And that's the consistency you want. Sometimes when I'm making these, I'll just pull it up to see where it is, and you can see like how smooth and creamy that is. You don't want any lumps or anything like that, because then you'll be able to tell that it's not the real thing. So that is good. It just needs a little bit more salt. And if you ever taste anything and it just seems like a little bit off or a little bit not quite something, chances are really, really high that you just need more salt. Just adding a little bit more salt to things just, sometimes fixes the whole problem. So. So for example, if you know there's pepper in there and you're not tasting all the pepper or basil or whatever, actually you don't need to add more pepper. Usually you add a little more salt and it brings out all the flavor. So, and especially with raw food, that's really true. Since you're not cooking all the flavors out of anything, it makes it, for me, it's more intuitive and more obvious. Like, you know, the flavors don't change in the same way as if you're cooking them. Which is why I never understood what happens to food when you put fire under it. It never made any sense to me. So, all right, so that is good. So what we're gonna do is put it in a bowl, and then I'm gonna stir in some fresh lemon chives from this farmer that I was mentioning before, and then some dried dill. I can't really tell you the exact reasons why, but for whatever reason, I usually tend to like to have both fresh herbs and dried herbs in a recipe. I'm gonna hand this to you guys. For me, there's something about the combination of that. You get some of the strength from the dried herbs, but then some of the freshness from the fresh herbs that kind of creates a really interesting flavor balance. It's not necessary to do it that way. That's one of my little quirks that I like to do. I'm just putting in dried dill and some fresh lemon chives from the farmer who lives in East Travis County. That she brings me some really interesting stuff. I really like the flavors of her stuff, as well as Boggy Creek and some of the farmers at the farmers market. Farmers, I think, are like chefs, you know. You can really taste what they put into the food, from the growing and planting of the seed, and, you know, taking care of the plants as they grow. And I've noticed that each different thing from each different farm has its own kind of flavor. That's like each farmer or caretaker has their own, you know, way of doing things. And so I think, you know, I talk to people about the food and the care that goes into it, and it really starts with the seed. You know, it's from seed to plate, you know, for me. And so, you know, we carry through here with all the food we do here with that kind of love, care, and attention to the food that we feel that was given at the farms, and that really honors what the plant is. So that alone will make your food taste better, I promise. Okay. So I'm gonna make sure that that's about where I want it. Actually, could use a little more dill. Okay. Okay, let's see. That's nice, it's not too strong. So you can make it stronger, less strong, etc. And you'll taste the garlic in there, which I kind of like, but you can leave that out if you don't like that kind of flavor. So it's always something that you can tailor to what you want. And what we have here for you guys is we make pizza here. We've been making it the past couple of weeks, and we have some extra, you know, little pizza crust bread. So I really think that things like this are good for spreading on breads, crackers, as well as vegetables.